Welcome to Instant Trivia, episode 1853. Ready? Let's go. What item does a Fletcher traditionally make? Arrows. Which 1982 film directed by Ingmar Bergman was originally prepared for television as a four-part series? Fanny and Alexander. In which 1936 film did Paul Robeson sing Old Man River? Showboat. Which sport was originally known as gossamer? Table tennis. Which venomous snake with red, yellow, and black bands is often mimicked by scarlet kingsnakes and milk snakes? Coral snake. Which opera house is located at New York City's Lincoln Center? Metropolitan Opera House. Which woman, better known for her pop music career, wrote the children's books Mr. Peabody's Apples and The English Roses? Madonna. What is the world's most popular salad vegetable? Lettuce. Which U.S. state has the highest density of vehicles and highways per square mile? New Jersey. Which country was Winston Churchill's mother from? United States. Which French king married Mary Tudor, the sister of Henry VIII, in 1514? Louis XII. Which German city is famous for its impressive cathedral and lively carnival celebrations? Cologne, Köln. Which U.S. territory voted in November 2012 to pursue becoming the 51st state of the United States? Puerto Rico. With which surname was English singer-songwriter Paloma Faith born? Blomfield. In which 1995 romantic comedy did Julia Ormond star alongside Harrison Ford and Greg Kinnear as a young woman caught in a love triangle? Sabrina, 1995. Which structure, designed by Finnish-American architect Eero Saarinen and engineer Hans-Carl Bandel in 1947 and standing 630 feet, 192 meters, tall and wide, is often called the tallest monument in the United States? The Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri. Who was Harper Lee's childhood friend and neighbor who inspired the character Dill in To Kill a Mockingbird? Truman Capote. What disease caused by a spore-forming bacterium and often linked to deep wounds leads to muscle stiffness and spasms? Tetanus. Which European country left the British Commonwealth and formally became a republic in 1949? Answer: Ireland, the Republic of Ireland. In traditional Dutch folklore, who brings presents instead of Santa Claus? Answer: Sinterklaas, St. Nicholas, usually assisted by helpers called Zwart Piet, often translated as Black Pete. Which actress, who has starred in both dramatic and blockbuster films, was born in Jerusalem? Natalie Portman. Which historian and author, best known for his writings on the American Civil War, wrote A Stillness at Appomattox. Bruce Catton. The Bessemer process, invented in 1856, was used to mass-produce what material? Steel. In which U.S. state was playwright Tennessee Williams born? Mississippi. What is the term for a strong cord made of two or more strands twisted together, commonly used for binding and tying objects? Twine. What is the capital city of the Netherlands? Amsterdam. What is a disk of gas orbiting a star or black hole called? Accretion disk. Which 1993 film stars Robin Williams as a father who disguises himself as a female nanny to spend time with his children? Mrs. Doubtfire. What adjective describes qualities characteristic of a god, especially mercy and forgiveness? Divine. In the first episode of the TV series Dallas, which character brings his new wife home to meet his family? Bobby Ewing. Herpetology is the study of which animals? Reptiles and amphibians. For which NFL team did Rob Gronkowski play during the majority of his career? New England Patriots. Pozole is a traditional soup or stew that originated in which country? Mexico. Which 1987 film features Arnold Schwarzenegger leading a team of commandos in the jungle against an alien hunter? Predator. Which blue-green gemstone, historically prized in Iran, is traditionally associated with protection and healing? Answer: turquoise. On June 15, 1844, Charles Goodyear was granted a patent for the vulcanization of rubber, a process by which what element represented by the symbol S is added to rubber? Sulfur. Which Kansas governor was the father of U.S. Senator Nancy Landon Kassebaum? Alf Landon. Which Gilbert and Sullivan comic opera is set aboard a ship and tells a love story that satirizes social class? HMS Pinafore. Which superhero, often portrayed as a young man juggling everyday life and great responsibility, is Aunt May's nephew? Spider-Man. If something is described as napiform, what vegetable is it shaped like? Turnip. In which card game would you encounter a dummy hand? Bridge. Which filmmaker, who first gained fame as an actor on a groundbreaking 1970s sitcom, later directed films including The Princess Bride and When Harry Met Sally? Rob Reiner. Which country is credited with inventing the modern ballpoint pen in the 1930s? Hungary. Who was the first U.S. president to live in the White House after it was completed? John Adams. In which country did a royal palace massacre on June 1st, 2001, kill King Birendra, Queen Aishwarya, Crown Prince Dipendra, and 7 other members of the royal family. Nepal. What name is given to the traditional biblical books that are no longer included in most modern Protestant Bibles? Answer: the Apocrypha, also called the Deuterocanonical books. What city comes next in this sequence of Summer Olympic host cities? Rome, Tokyo, Mexico City. Munich. Which university is Harvard's historic rival, often competing with it in both academics and athletics? Yale. Who was the first person to perform a spacewalk in 1965? Alexei Leonov. If you arrange all the element names in the periodic table alphabetically, which element appears first that has a 4-letter name? Gold. That's the end of the show. Thanks for playing. See you tomorrow.